Hey party people, welcome back to the Pretty Picture Party. It's me, Taylor, and today we're going to be talking about the Holy Grail, and particularly the Holy Grail in 7 cards of the Major Arcana of the Tarot of the Starbound Phantasia, and even more particularly about how those cards relate to the alchemical journey. The Holy Grail has its roots in Indiana Jones, and even earlier than that in Monty Python. The 3 actual roots of the Holy Grail that we're going to be getting into today are the Celtic, the Christian, and the alchemical. The Celts had the idea that man needed to repair his relationship to Mother Nature, the goddess. The Christians believed that the Holy Grail meant more about redemption or meeting the Maker. And then the alchemists have the idea of personal transformation, or that nature itself is spiritual. There's no single telling of the quest for the Grail that is considered quintessential, and there's no description for the Grail that's considered to be the be-all to end-all description. So it itself is as much of an archetype as any of the tarot cards. The quest for the Holy Grail and the Starbound Phantasia takes place between cards 11 and card 17. We start with strength or lust. We move through the hanged man, the death, temperance, the devil, the tower, and finally the star. This quest begins actually with card 10, the wheel, where we are made aware of the alchemical cycle. The 7-pointed star is present in nearly every card of the Major Arcana of the Starbound Phantasia, and it is a reference to Basil Valentine's Wheel of Alchemy. Each point on the star is representing a different stage of the alchemical process, and each of these 7 cards references one of these stages. As is the motivation of many journeys, we start with lust. We have the Scarlet Woman riding a great beast who comes towards us presenting a black grail with a red 7-pointed star inside of it. The Scarlet Woman is just breaking our societal norms of the passive feminine. The intuitive is coming to the forefront. The beast of the apocalypse is representing the Greek tradition of the word apocalypse, which is a revealing of the truth, a revealing that we are strong enough to begin this journey. So we're cooking away our prior conditioning. We are getting down to the truth. In Wolfram's telling of the Holy Grail quest, Parzival encounters a red knight who has stolen a cup made of red gold. One thing that Parzival noticed is how much he wants this red knight's armor. So when he kills him, he takes the armor. Then he finds out that the red knight was his uncle. While he does return this grail to the king that it was stolen from, there is the regret of this uncle that he murdered. So there's a little bit of a lesson of restraint in our lesson of strength or lust in this card, that we do pay a price for things that we want. Alchemically speaking, this is the phase of calcination, where we are burning things down in a purifying process. The fires of lust are set ablaze, and we are gonna roast until we've got what we need to move forward. That would move us into the next stage of dissolution, which takes us to the next card, the Hanged Man. Where we see that the Grail is in the bottom in more of a goblet or hourglass type shape, and the Fool has sacrificed himself. This is the sacrifice of the ego. His head has been separated from his body and is in the top of the Grail. His head's underwater, his body's being hung upside down by a dual representation of the Egyptian goddess of the night, and he's having this experience of being dissolved. The 7-pointed star of alchemy has temporarily become his head. He has this cosmic awareness, but he's also in a diminished capacity, not unlike a psychedelic experience where maybe you're in a sensory deprivation tank, or you've taken something where you shouldn't be out and about, but you have this clarity of vision. Maybe things are obvious to you that weren't obvious before. Your reality has dissolved. That takes us to our separation stage, where we find ourselves on the card Death. The Grail has now truly become an hourglass. We can see that the seven-pointed star has separated itself from the dark matter at the bottom. This is in like a black pyramid shape. It is all of the matter of the world faded to decay. Meanwhile, the spiritual self has risen above it, has no influence over it at this point. Entering the conjunction stage, we move on to temperance. We can see that the cup is getting a refill. We have this angelic being with the seven-pointed star as the center. It has two heads speaking magic, and you have magic of fire and water coming together in the top. The conjunction is the new forming of a perfect vibration of synthesis, and we see a golden disc of the sun of consciousness in the bottom of the cup. It's a rebirth of consciousness at this point. We are beginning to be aware of our skills and our powers and what we can do and what we perceive. It doesn't take a lot of imagination or experience to know that skills and powers can be exploited. And as we move into the fermentation stage, we see that the light being itself casts a dark shadow. We now have this black dragon with the Grail itself has taken position in the center. It's become perverted. The golden crown of the previous Grail is now black. The gold is leaking blood. We see that in this darkening of the light, in these gifts in the service of madness, that the alchemical star has lost its position of value in the center and is now in the bottom, even though it is the only real path out of here. At this point, we reach distillation in our tower card. And the tower itself is a representation of a sick society based on the values of the previous card. We have people at the bottom scrounging for gold. Lesser people stand above them wearing the gold on their faces as masks representing wealth over character. Even they submit their gold upward, where these knights holding golden swords represent physical tyranny brought on by misuse of resources. And even the angelic figures above them are bowing down to a golden disc. Above them, we see where our Grail is imprisoned, right beneath the head of a golden king. So we fortunately are on the tower card, and the seven-pointed star has arrived to topple the king. And that is to point out that in the natural world, everything has its limitations. Nothing lasts forever, which means that, you know, even if something is being oppressed, nothing can be truly oppressed eternally. So we see how the alchemical wisdom, the understanding of the self and the natural world eventually does topple any ideas that are based on greed and separation. For distillation to happen, things had to be brought out into the open. There was no greater obvious presence than the top of the tower, and at that point, it could be distilled. That brings us to our coagulation stage of alchemy, where the goddess is present, where the star itself is emptying out light. The goddess is pouring starlight from two cups into the Grail. Galaxies are born. We have gone through this whole process where we had to see the whole universe to realize that we are both part of it and the whole universe in ourselves. If there's a common element to these three branches of the Holy Grail, I think that it is the humility that comes from accepting our mortality, our fragility, and our humanity. A fool that persists in his folly becomes wise, and I think that we have to have these experiences and pursuits of our desire to find out who we truly are. Once we accept these concrete limitations, once we see what it's like to not get what we want, I think we start to really build our character and our true gold. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. Please like and subscribe. Give me a little comment if there's something that you'd like to add to the conversation, or if there is a card you'd like to be discussed in a future video. If you'd like to have a look at my art, please go and visit illustrations.net. If you'd like to buy the Tarot of the Starbound Phantasia, please visit bigcartel.illustrations.com. Until then, happy reading.